I guess the most important thing to address is that I did get to play the video game consoles. Like, I did get to play. She would give me permission. So sometimes I was allowed to play Tetris with her, which she was really good at. She could get really, really high. So I could play Tetris with her, and then Doug worked graveyards and slept during the day, so sometimes they would let me play the Sega. The other thing to address is that, aside from a 5-minute story at an open mic and a brief comedy set, this was the first time that I told a story on stage. I kind of went backward, like most people I think start at places like the Moth. They do 5 minutes, they work their way up to 20 minutes. Where I was the opposite, I kind of started at 20 minutes and now I'm trying to work my way down. I have a really hard time taking baby steps, but I'm really good at jumping. Hello and welcome to Prompt, a podcast for people who love stories. My name is Amy B., and I'm a writer and one of the co-creators of In a Nutshell, a monthly storytelling show in Sacramento, California. My co-creators are the world-class comedian Lowell Jensen and the ska defender music journalist Carnes. We get to hear all kinds of great stories, and we want you to hear them too. So every episode, we'll play you a true personal story told at one of our shows, and then we'll talk to the storyteller to not only find out more about the person behind the story, but also discover why they tell the stories they tell. This week, we talked to the illustrious Amy B.
Amy, I think it's weird for you to do the introduction when you're the subject. I don't know how to do it, though. I'm not professional enough. I know. Let's get Aaron.
This week, we have Amy B., who told a story at our March Nutshell. It was one of the very first times she's ever told a story. She told an amazing story about her time in the Girl Scouts, where she failed miserably. But is it really a story about cookie selling, or is it a story about her family life and her mother and her struggles as a child and how she looked for success and affirmation in her life? Give it a listen, and then we'll talk with Amy after the story.
Picture me. I'm around 10 years old, and I've got 19 boxes of Girl Scout cookies all hidden underneath my desk. Thin Mints, Do-si-dos, peanut butter. You name it, I got it. It's like the world's tiniest cookie pantry right there at my fingertips. It's so many cookies. And these cookies are a problem because they're evidence. Tasty, tasty evidence of just how badly I failed at Girl Scouts. But I got a plan. The plan is to eat that evidence. Just come home from school every day, go straight to my room, turn on DuckTales, and eat an entire box of cookies until all that evidence is gone. I thought about throwing away those cookies, but hello, I'm 10 years old. I've got cookies, I've got DuckTales, and I've got all the time in the world because I'm grounded as usual. Of course I'm gonna eat those cookies. This whole cookie problem started with a very simple idea. I should join Girl Scouts. I was around 10 years old, and I was kind of a troubled kid. Had a hard time fitting in. And I was looking for a place to belong. And the place needed to have friendship kind of built into the system. And Girl Scouts seemed like the perfect place for that. I also had a difficult family life. I lived with my mom, and I lived with my Doug, my stepdad. And they were two kind of wounded adults who were very suspicious of the world and suspicious of what the world might want from us. And they passed that on to me. And they were also very selfish, and they were always leaving me out of shit. Like, they would be upstairs just playing games, playing Yahtzee and getting high, having the time of their lives, while I'm like downstairs in my room all by myself because I'm grounded, as usual. Maybe that doesn't sound like much, but my mom had a Nintendo, and my Doug had a Sega, and I wasn't allowed to play either of them. Right? That messes a kid up. Clearly, I was the scapegoat of the family. That was the term I learned from the school counselor, one I thought was pretty fucking cool, like, I'm the scapegoat, yeah! It took me a while to figure out that didn't rock. It was these things. It was this, like, being the scapegoat and this family dynamic, this constant battle of me versus them, made me made me kind of a weird kid, and it also made me really needy toward other people, especially adults. And I loved going up to adults. I loved meeting adults, and I loved saying, "Hi, my name's Amy. I'm an only child, aka a lonely child." And then I'd give a big belly laugh, like, ah. I thought I was being so funny, but it made adults really uncomfortable because what they heard was, "Save me, I need saving." And they weren't really that far off because I was constantly looking for escape. And that's why when I found out that Mallory from school was in the Girl Scouts, I begged her to let me join. Mallory wasn't really into this idea. We were barely friends. But I just kept pestering her until finally it was just easier for her to let me join. And when I did join, it wasn't really what I had pictured at all. I'm not sure what I was picturing, except it was the 80s. I thought maybe there'd be a lot of like Indiana Jones hats and like how to start fire with nothing but your belly button lint or stuff like that. It wasn't anything like that. It was very different. It was more like, for instance, like each meeting started with the singing of the silly song, which was fine. I loved silly songs. That was fine. Then there was a lot of like stuff about babies, like how to take care of babies, how to babysit, stuff like that. And then there was a lot of focus on how you looked and makeovers and how to do your hair, stuff like that. None of this was really my cup of tea, but as long as the focus stayed on group-oriented activities, I could belong and without drawing too much attention to myself. And that's what I was looking for. But sooner or later, the group activities would kind of fall away into the troop's main obsession, which was collecting badges. And collecting badges, that was a little harder for me to not stick out. I mean, earning badges was like an impossible achievement for me because you needed money and you needed parental guidance, and I had neither. Even the book that described all the badges I was supposed to be earning cost money. And it had been a monumental task just to get my mom to buy me the sash and pay the membership fees. Sometimes I would look through Mallory's book and my heart would just sink because even the solo badges, the ones that I was allegedly supposed to be able to earn on my own, were way outside of my capabilities. Like, how exactly was I supposed to get myself to an art museum and then be so inspired I make my own work of art? Like, that wasn't going to happen for me. So clearly, Girl Scouts was a little more money and merit motivated than I had anticipated, but I mostly enjoyed it, and I was having fun, and I really liked the belonging part. So I just kept singing the silly songs and making the homemade ice cream, and I learned how to French braid everybody's hair. I did the best at fitting in that I could for as long as I could. And then cookie season happened, and everything fell apart. Now, my troop, they're very, very excited about selling cookies. It was a big deal. And I can remember sitting on the floor while the rest of my troops whirling around me, like with their big, elaborate plans and their cookie-selling jargon. And I'm just in the center going, how the hell am I going to pull this off? Like, I didn't think selling anything sounded like very much fun, and in fact, it sounded a little bit like child labor, and it definitely sounded like something that was going to out me from the status quo. Still, they were very excited by it. They were so enthusiastic, and they kept just talking about it and talking about how, like, this is what Girl Scouts is all about, and this is what's going to cement us together, and it was contagious. And, you know, I found myself walking home that night just going, well, maybe I could do this. Like, they're making it sound easy. Maybe I'm overthinking it in my head. And by the time I got home, I'm just feeling my own excitement. And I put the brochure down on the desk, and I put the tally sheet next to the brochure, and I found my favorite purple pen, and I laid it down next to them, and then I just kind of stood back, and I looked at it, and I'm just like, okay, let's try. And so by the next morning, I'm fully caught up in it. I'm so excited, especially because I had this idea that maybe I could get my mom to do the whole thing with me. Like, my mom barely left the house, but maybe she'd make an exception this time. And maybe we would like do that whole mother-daughter bonding thing I'd been hearing so much about. This idea did not seem far-fetched to me because pretty much everybody's moms were involved with the Girl Scouts somehow. Even Mallory's mom was one of the leaders. So with this thought, I'm just super excited, and I'm just rushing through my morning chores, and I get my cereal, and I sit at the desk at my table, and I'm just slurping up my cereal, and I'm like browsing through the brochure. And when I'm browsing through the brochure, it hits me, I might earn a badge. I might earn a badge from this. And I'm just like full on giddy, and I'm just like kicking my legs, and I'm singing. I'm just like, oh yeah, the future's looking bright. And then I hear my mom's bedroom door click downstairs, and instantly I tighten. And the cats hear her too, and they all start meowing. And we had 8 cats at this time. And they all swoop down the stairs to meet her at the bottom. And I could hear them coming up the stairs. All of it was like a grand parade of some sort. And I'm just kind of trying to make myself smaller and stiller. And my breath is caught. And then all the cats just like pour out from the top of the stairs. And I can see my mom's face coming up the stairs, and I can see the furrow in her brow, and I can see the frown on her lips, and I know exactly what that look means. Leave me alone. And so she gets up and she strides across the living room, and she passes me, and the cats are all swirling at her feet. And this feeling that can only be described as like seething hatred is emanating off of her. And she goes into the kitchen. She's already pissed as hell. And she's looking at everything I've done wrong, and she's like calling it out to me. And she's like, look at the dishwasher. You didn't empty the dishwasher. And look at the coffee. You hadn't made the coffee right. And look, the cat bowls are still on the ground, and you didn't wring the dish rag. And then she slammed her fist onto the counter. And that's when the cats scatter, because they ain't dumb. Because look at the sugar bowl. The sugar bowl isn't filled to the top. It's not heaping. It's not brimming. And I'm watching her watch the sugar bowl. And hard-earned experience has taught me that it's time for me to get out of Dodge. So I just start collecting all my stuff. And I like push myself out from the seat, but I freeze when my mom says, "Did you even clean your room?" No, I hadn't cleaned my room, and I start to mumble my apologies, but it's too late. She's just slamming everything around, and she's redoing everything I've done wrong, and then she like whirls, and she looks at me, and it's like she takes everything in about me, my cookie stuff, my ratty coat, my wrinkled sash, my childlike hopes, dreams, and optimisms, all of it. She looks at it, and everything in her says no. And then she literally says, oh no, that's not happening. Now, my mom hasn't yet made any kind of move toward me, but I feel like I've been struck. And I can't help it. I start crying. I'm like, Mom, I have to do this. I have to go do this. But nope, she cuts me off, and she says, you willful little shit. You go to your room. Don't you dare come back up. So I do go to my room, and I do not come back upstairs. And just like that, I'm grounded again. 1 day, 2 days, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the time I'm free again, it's too late. Like, the game is over. Everybody's had a head start on me. Everybody started with a head start over me because they all had people. They had people to escort them to all the rich-ass neighborhoods. And they had moms to make cookie stands in front of the grocery stores. And they had dads that were going to take those tally sheets to their coworkers and make them buy cookies. And what did I have? I didn't have anything. I had me. And I knew what a fuck up I was. Still, I did trudge around my neighborhood for a few hours and try to sell some cookies, but no avail. I knew I was going to have to go to the first cookie check-in with a big fat 0. And actually, it was a lot worse than I anticipated, because the first thing Mallory told me when I got there was that she had sold over 2,000 boxes of cookies. Like, what the? And they were all crowded around this whiteboard, and they'd like put our names up on the whiteboard. Everybody was very excited, and they were calling our names to see how many cookies we'd sold. And the numbers that these girls were dropping was startling. Like, pretty much everybody had sold over 1,000 boxes of cookies. And even Cindy, the girl like picking her crack all the time. She'd sold over 600 boxes of cookies. And then Danielle. When Danielle got called and she told the whole group that she had sold over 2,500 boxes of cookies, well, they went wild. Everybody started cheering and clapping and smiling, and Danielle's mom was there, and her face got so big. She had this giant smile on her face. It looked like her face was going to crack in half. And I wanted so bad for Mom to look at me like that. Like, I wanted to be adored, and I wanted someone to be proud of me, and I wanted people to cheer and clap for me. I wanted to be the hero. And so that's probably why when Mallory's mom said, "And what about our new girl?" I thought fast. It had to be a big number, but not too big. And it had to be believable, so no round numbers. So, some advice for you. And it had to, since it was a lie, it had to roll naturally off my tongue. So I said as solemnly as possible, 996 boxes of cookies. And the warmth and the acceptance was instantaneous. It felt so, I belonged. They were laughing and cheering and clapping, and I was one of them. And during the meeting, by the end of the night, I'm just like bopping around like a seasoned cookie seller, like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, I was believing my own lie. And it wasn't until I was walking home that I considered the magnitude of that number, 996 boxes of cookies. 996. So at $2 a pop, that meant I needed to come up with almost $2,000? Holy hell. Like, that's an expensive lie. Okay, so it's probably clear to all of you now that I really needed this Girl Scout thing to work out. Like, okay, fine, maybe they weren't my friends, and maybe I didn't really mesh well with them in their capitalistic ways. And okay, they thought I was weird, and they didn't like my Walmart clothes, and they didn't like my apparent lack of a comb. But they accepted me, right? Because they kind of had to, right? Because the system dictated it. So all I really needed to do to keep belonging would be to bring home that cookie dough. But how? Because as soon as I turned in my tally sheet, they were going to catch me, and everyone was going to know that I did not sell 996 boxes of cookies. Like, there was no way to avoid that. It was going to be humiliating. But maybe I could soften the blow. So I didn't have any money, but this happened to be the first year that I wasn't getting free lunches anymore at school, and my mom was putting weekly lunch money in a jar by the cereal. So if I saved that money until the cookie deadline, how many boxes of cookies could I buy? 19. I could buy 19 boxes of cookies. So that's what I did. I saved my lunch money. I stopped eating. I'd mooch tater tots off of my classmates. And when the cookie deadline came, I filled my pockets up with my crumpled $1 bills and my loose change, and I got the tally sheet, and I made up 19 fake names and 19 fake addresses and 19 fake phone numbers. And then I picked the widest array of cookies that I could, because fine if I was gonna get caught in my 996 lie, but there was no way they were gonna find out that I was the one buying the cookies. So I went to the cookie deadline, and pretty much everyone was already there. And they were all crowded around that whiteboard, and they were so excited. And I kind of sat away from the group that day and a little closer to the exit door. And I think some part of me already knew that my time with this silly song singing, badge-obsessed family was nearing its end. And they just called everyone up one by one, and finally they called me up, and I handed Mallory Mom's my tally sheet, and she looked down at it, and she's like, "What's this? I thought you said," and she frowns, and then she kind of trails off, and then the whole room gets really quiet because they can tell, something's about to happen. And I actually turn and face the entire group. Some part of me thinks I'm gonna deliver a speech to them. I'm gonna explain this whole thing to them. I'm gonna tell them about how I'd gotten grounded and what a shit show mornings were at my house, and how I just gotten swept up in it, and how much I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be one of them. And but when I looked at their faces, I couldn't do it, because their faces were so open and curious and forgiving and puzzled. There was nothing I was going to tell these people that they would understand, ever. So I just went up to that chalkboard and I wiped that $9.96 off with the back of my hand. I dumped all my change out, and then I got the hell out of there as fast as I could. I never went back to Girl Scouts. Except I did go back a few weeks later because I had to get the cookies. I had to get those damn cookies. So I went and got the cookies, and I tried not to take it as a personal attack, but they had like grouped everybody's cookies into like individual piles. So it was like, and okay, so whatever. I got those cookies, and then I got the hell out, and I never went back to Girl Scouts. And nothing really changed from this day. Like, the Girl Scouts weren't calling me up like, "We want you back, Amy." And I didn't really learn anything from the experience, except maybe to quit things sooner. Or better yet, don't start anything at all. And my family life was still difficult. I actually don't know if they even know this entire story. Like, I don't think they know what happened. So yeah, the family life was bad, and unfortunately, it was going to get worse before it got better. But it's okay, and I'm okay. And there was one good thing that came from it. One thing did go my way, because for 19 days, I had cookies!
Life is like a hurricane.
Thank you.
Duckbird, race cars, lasers, aeroplanes.
Do you remember any of the silly songs that you used to sing with Girl Scouts?
Yeah, I do remember one of them.
Okay.
I had really ambitious plans for this story. And at one point I was like thinking that I was going to try it, because the one song I remember is a callback song. And so I was going to try to see if I could get the audience to do it with me. It's called Princess Pat. But yeah, I could sing it for you, but my voice is terrible, so.
Let's do it.
Can you at least give us some of the lyrics?
Now Captain Jack
Now,
Captain Jack
had a mighty fine crew.
had a mighty fine crew.
He sailed across
He sailed across
the channel too.
the channel too.
But his ship sank,
But his ship sank,
and yours will too.
and yours will too.
If you don't take
If you don't take
a rig of bamboo.
a rig of bamboo.
A rig of bamboo.
A rig of bamboo.
Now what is that?
Now what is that?
It's something made
It's something made
by the Princess Pat.
by the Princess Pat.
It's red and gold.
It's red and gold
And purple too.
and purple too.
That's why it's called
That's why it's called
a rig of bamboo.
a rig of bamboo.
And then it just keeps.
That doesn't really explain what it is at all.
No.
Yeah.
I actually looked it up when I was working on the story.
Is a rig of bamboo a thing?
It's a thing.
There's really a thing?
Some Canadian princess woman. I barely remember it. Sorry. It has truth to it.
So
And nothing
that,
to do with Girl Scouts.
so that was one ambitious thing you didn't do, but you did do two things for this show. This was the third nutshell. No one's ever done anything like this. You set up your own song. You closed with DuckTales, but also you had cookies for everybody.
Yeah, that's true. I did.
So you want to talk about those two little choices that you did for your story?
Well, I thought it would be cool if everybody ate a cookie, and that I was hoping that they would be warm and like freshly made, and then like people would have like the scent of the cookie, and it would be like kind of this pleasant feeling. They'd be feeling good about it, and then as they got farther into my story, and the story kind of is like a roller coaster, and as it got a little more sad, the aroma, their sensation of the cookie would kind of change. So it was just kind of like a little trying to play with people's senses a little bit. So kind of pleasant, and then but also multi-layered. I don't know. We ended up just handing them some cookies, I think, after.
We weren't allowed to bring them inside the theater. It
Yeah.
was part of it. So they had to go to the lobby to have some cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
You wanted to hit all the senses.
I did.
Yeah.
I felt really creative, and since it was my first time, I like just like wanted a big production, and it was just a matter. I just had to keep scaling down, and even when I listen to it now, I can see like where I could scale it down more.
What about the decision to have good DuckTales at the end?
I thought that was a really good idea, and even listening back, that's my first time listening to it. I still have no idea if it hit the way that I wanted it to hit.
I think it's a generational thing. I think those of us that watched DuckTales, it has emotional resonance.
Yeah.
And it hit. I think there's probably a lot of older people in the audience that don't
Get it.
DuckTales doesn't mean anything to them. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's like for your generation, our generation.
Yeah,
I think
my generation.
It hit well.
We're in the same generation.
Yeah. No, that's what I said. It did hit for me. I think I'm on the older end of DuckTales watchers. But I did.
You're
I
in your
loved
20s.
DuckTales was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
But I mean, even if you didn't know DuckTales,
It says DuckTales pretty fast. You
but
know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
just the sound of the song. The song is very joyous,
It was such a great song.
and you have a sad ending, and then you kind of do this.
It's
this
a happy
pick-
ending.
No, I mean, leading up to the ending, it's sad, and then you have like a moment of joy, and then
Yeah.
it's the sound of DuckTales sounds joyous, even if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was trying to communicate. It was kind of a present for young me, and also just a way to kind of implicitly say it was okay. Something good came out of it. I enjoyed the cookies, and I did actually really enjoy the cookies. And I was trying to put because it's a written story. I wrote it, I published it, and my original story is kind of a bummer. I think it ends on like, and then I walked home. Like that's the ending. It's just very sad, and so I felt like I really wanted to change that for the live version.
Would having performed it live affect, like would you want to go back and rewrite it?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time looking at my stuff right now because it is fundamentally changing. I think ultimately it'll be a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of like,
Having that experience of directly feeding your words into people's ears,
changes it.
it's very different. Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll make me a better like essay writer or long form writer. I'm not sure. If anything, I feel like maybe some of my inclination to be a little more anecdotal than my peers, because if you write memoir and short form stuff like that, they really want a lot of reflection. They want like that multi-layered. And I look back and I see that I was already kind of, I wouldn't say surface, but kind of anecdotal, and I feel like that works for oral storytelling.
Yeah.
In a way that it doesn't, or it's not being accepted currently within the publishing industry.
Yeah. Well, it will be.
Will?
It's the future.
Oh.
Yeah. People are gonna get sick of all this
Reflecting shit.
Reflecting and trying to process and explain. Just tell us the shit that happened.
Yeah.
Tell us the
Tell us what
damn
happened.
story.
Oh, here's another really important question. How many cats did you have?
8. It's in the story.
No,
Jesus
so-
Christ.
Why? And also just in general, because there was like waves of cats.
Yeah,
right?
the most cats we ever had was 12.
12.
I think my mom briefly was thinking about breeding. It's, that typical story of, she's like, I'm going to breed these cats, Korok cats. They're really beautiful. They're silver. They have green eyes. They're, worth a little bit of money. And, but when the cats were born, she couldn't give them away. She couldn't sell them. She fell in love with them. She gave them all really long names and from gods and goddesses. And she's just in love with them. So, but why we had 8 cats before that, I'm not sure.
What? Can you remember any of the names?
Like Paragon was one.
That's a good
Chrysalis.
cat name. Ooh.
Those are all I can remember.
It's a funny story.
Yeah.
And there's some real pain and pathos in it. Is it instinct or is there a mathematical formula? Like, how do you go about making sure you've balanced the two? What is that like?
Some of it is instinct,
Yeah.
and some of it is rhythm. I
Okay.
think like you're feeling, it's like a roller coaster. Like when I'm writing it, I'm trying to perform it, I'm feeling it go up, kind of slower, and then I'm feeling it come down. That's faster. You take the loops. You're like, I'm following some kind of like rhythm, I think, mostly.
I was thinking while I was listening to it about how especially comedians, they look for the laugh because it's a reassurance that the audience is still with you. Is that hard to wait and put in the laugh where it serves the story instead of putting in the laugh where you need some reassurance?
I don't have an answer to that. I'm not sure. I feel like some of the places where people laughed, I was unexpected to me. Actually, one of the biggest laughs was like one of the saddest parts to me. That line, I can't remember. What was the line? Do you remember?
That you learned to not start things.
Yeah, quit things sooner. Like, got a good laugh. And now I can hear it. I'm like, yeah, that is funny. Maybe I should just keep that. But that's a sad moment for me. Right? Because it's a sad realization. It's also very truthful because it is just from there on out. It's me not joining things, not trying things, not just really like making myself very small in the world. So it's a sad moment.
Well, yeah. And like before you get into the end and before you get into the part where you have cookies and you have DuckTales, you deliver this line. Unfortunately, it was going to get worse before it got better.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to know why I said that?
Yeah.
I want to know why you said that, but I also want to point out that there's like a lot in that line that like you, the listener, really are filling in the blanks, I think, as to what that even means. So yeah, tell us why you said that.
Well, I don't like nice and tidy resolutions and endings. And I felt like it was, although I had a goal, and some of my goal was to like give mercy and grace to young me, who was just a kid, who was just trying to belong and had a hard time of it. And I wanted to end on a positive note for her, just for her. That was just for me, for her. But I also feel like it's important for people to know that things are messy. They're not linear. They're all over the place, and so much happens after that. And then maybe that's a little meanness too, like a little mean streak in me, is I like kind of poking and antagonizing people just a tiny bit, and I want them to know that more happened, that it's not like a happy ending. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It segues into the next thing I wanted to ask you, which is, and I mean this, I'm not blowing smoke. Little Amy is like one of my favorite characters. I love hearing about little Amy. She is this precocious, unique little survivor. So what I wanted to ask, and you partially answered this already, but what is your relationship with her like now? Like, are you able to love that little maniac?
Trying to change it from a written story into a oral story was my first time really doing that. Really kind of, I had some therapy. I had like come to some really important realizations about my family dynamic, and so that was the first time that I was able to like have compassion towards her. And so as of right now, so that wasn't very long ago, I think I'm getting there.
Do you think that doing this kind of live storytelling then is therapeutic?
Probably is therapeutic for people.
I wonder about the psychological effect of having a room full of people empathizing with and rooting for little Amy.
Well, I don't know if they were.
That.
I don't know if they were empathizing with me, and I don't know if they were rooting for me.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Well, that's cool.
So if something made that more clear, then it might be more therapeutic.
It might be, yeah. But I think something about it being me, and maybe like even the fact that I don't get to know what people are thinking is good for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm I'm an overthinker. I figure out what other people are thinking. I'm pretty good at it. And like, but that's not actually that's like an old skill. It's a skill I shouldn't be using the way that I've needed to use it most of my life. Like, I don't need to be hyper vigilant of what everybody is thinking.
Okay.
I don't need to constantly know the subtext of other people.
Okay.
And there's a hypervigilance to that, and that comes from living with my mother. And I don't need that skill the same way anymore. It still has some good stuff, some good magic that comes from it, but I don't need it on that level.
Right.
Or, yeah, that's the theory.
So maybe in your case, it's more important that you're empathizing with little Amy that you are celebrating little Amy.
It was in that situation, for sure.
Well, I think she's a hoot.
Oh, cool.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our regular episode, but our paid subscribers, hang in there because we've got more for you. Additional content coming up right now.
We've already sort of mentioned that this was a written story before it was an oral story, but this is actually a published written story.
Yeah.
It was published on salon.com. What can you remember about the writing of the story originally? Like, do you know what your intention was or what you felt like you were communicating back then?
You know, I think that like how I reacted to cookie season is pretty much the opposite of how most kids, girls reacted to it. Like they all loved it. They loved selling the cookies. They loved Girl Scouts. I have nothing against Girl Scouts, by the way. But, and I did have a lot of fun. But like, I felt like that was an unusual thing that happened and I wanted to share that with people. I did think that I was going to like come to some deeper understanding of myself. But at that point, I didn't have any deeper understanding except that, you know, that I was kind of a sad, lonely kid.
Do you know then why you wanted to tell this story on stage? Like you told a comedy bit that was about 10 minutes and then you told like a short story at an open mic. So this is like 20 minutes story. There's probably a couple hundred people there. And this is the story that you choose and you worked on it for a long time. So I want to hear why you chose that story and what this process of getting ready to do this huge step forward for you was.
Well, it had ups and downs, that it had tension. And it also, I felt like it offered a glimpse into a world that maybe most people aren't aware of. So that's why I picked it. I thought that it had like, since it had ups and downs and it had tension and it had like a definitive ending and there's action, there's a lot of action involved in it, that it was gonna, that it was good for oral storytelling. I tried a whole bunch of different other stories before I picked that one. And they were all like, okay, but I just felt like this one was working the best, so I went with it.
Do you feel like starting with a written story first is your process?
Probably, because so far I haven't been able to just come up with a story by scratch. Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I just watched someone last night, they're like, I wasn't going to tell this story, and they're just making it up on the spot. They're they decided to tell this little thing that happened to them, and I'm like, I don't even know how they do that. I would not be able to do that, at least not yet.
Yeah, I don't know them personally, but my guess is it wasn't the first time they told it. They had probably told it at a party, told it to a friend, told it to, you know, there's ways that we all have our stories that are these well-rehearsed little, like oftentimes people with partners, their partners be like, oh, tell the blah 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 story, you know. But yeah, it's funny you and I coming at it from opposite directions.
Totally.
I'm taking stuff that I've rehearsed on stage,
trying to write it,
and then trying to write it, and which can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are frustrations the other way as well.
Yeah.
Well, can you explain a little bit more your process specifically with this story? Because I think your process is evolving since you've done this, but what was your process like to do this story?
Well, I had to kind of explode it. That's how I even found out that I had any compassion for the little Amy, is by exploding it and really trying to think about like, who is the narrator? And what is the narrator? I was trying to think, what is the narrator, the 10-year-old? What is she trying to say? What is her goal in this? And that's how I started putting the story back together. And it was a lot longer. So it's at, I think it was like 22 minutes, but it was longer when I started. And it was just a lot of editing down and trying to keep that flow, the up and down going. And then I made specific decisions for oral storytelling. And that was, I watered down the scenes with my mom, because it felt like if I went too far into what actually happened or how, you know, abusive it was, I would kind of lose people. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I wanted them to still be able to laugh where I wanted them to laugh. I wanted them to feel the low, but I didn't want them to stay there. I didn't want them to like become preoccupied with that. So I just kept in every version all the way to just like, I basically make a line where I'm like, she didn't hit me, but you know, if I felt as if I'd been struck. That's what I ended on.
Right.
Like, so that like all the information is there if anybody's looking for it. But I'm not putting it on people. And that, you know, maybe I didn't really do that in my writing. In my writing, I'm just like, oh, she threw a sugar bowl at me. She, you know, yeah, it feels different. And I'm still not sure where I land on that. with oral storytelling. I feel like I want to say dark things. I want to say sad stories, and I want to communicate all those things, but I don't want it to be therapy. I don't want it to be sentimental, and I don't want it to be like I'm
Trauma dumping.
yeah.
Why not? Not the trauma dumping, like I get it, but why not let it be therapeutic?
I guess when I was saying therapeutic that time, I was thinking of it as like an open wound.
Okay.
More like it's therapeutic because the process is therapeutic for me, because I'm like healing myself and I'm giving myself a voice. You know, I spent a long time, decades, not really talking to other people. And so this is healing me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like literally getting my voice back, right? What?
It amuses me that you went without talking to people for so long, and now you're talking to hundreds of people at a time. You're making up for lost time. You
Yeah, but I
jumped
yeah.
in the deep end,
I told you, see at the beginning, terrible at baby steps.
right?
But I can jump, motherfucker. I can
So,
jump.
at the end of the next 5-year period, you're going to be all caught up. You're going to be like, now I've talked to as many people as any normal person.
And then dementia sets in.
And then, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So yeah, the watered down part. And I still, like, when I listen back to it, I'm not sure, like, does it work? Does the going back and forth between the two stories, the story of my home life and the story of lying about selling cookies, do they work together? And I'm not really going to know the answer to that without just a lot more experience.
That's the hard part. Stand up, it's so nice that you can just go hit open mics. You can hit, 2 or 3 of them a week easy. Some people hit that many a night. And do something and then do it a different way and then do it a different way. And with storytelling, our time on stage is... It affects the process because it's more precious. There's less of it to go around.
Exactly.
And so it's so hard to take something and try it one way and then try it another way. And
Yeah.
then that's where our partners come in. Romantic and otherwise.
Poor Aaron.
Okay, listen to this way now.
Yeah. What about this? Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to do it sad. Now I'm going to do
Right.
Well, what did it feel like for you when you told the story? Like when you finished telling the story, what did it feel like for you?
It was electric.
Yeah?
It was exhilarating. I was a little stunned because, people were reacting differently than I expected, but it was not quite as good as the stand up. I think that was otherworldly. But I felt I had accomplished something major for me.
That thing that you felt at stand up,
Yeah.
I mean, you're never going to exactly feel that again because there was a first timeness to it.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's a high in that you are going to feel again.
Cool.
There's going to be that night where at the end of a story, you just go, oh, every single individual thing clicked.
Yeah.
And, like I did a tap dance and hit every step.
That'll be nice when that happens.
Yeah.
But still, I also like, watching you and Bo on stage in Berkeley or in San Francisco the other night. There wasn't a lot of people in the audience, but you guys were killing, and you were, I really liked your ability to perform no matter what the situation is, and even when things aren't going well.
Right.
You're still good, and like I want to experience some of that because right now I do think I'm very precious about every single thing, and I need to shed that. I need to let go of it. It needs to not be so like, oh.
The hard part, I think, for storytellers and comedians and maybe, anyone does public speaking. I use the analogy of doing a bad painting. Mm-hmm. You could do a painting that you think is good and other people don't think it's good. But usually if you think it's good, other people are going to think it's good. And if you do a bad painting, you can just paint over it. You could put it in the closet. We have to bomb in front of other people.
Yeah.
We have to do, because that's the art form.
Right.
They're our instrument. And
right.
so, I mean, I am invested in your journey, and I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud for whatever role I've played in it, and I'm dreading the moment that you bomb your ass off because it'll happen. It's part of this art form.
I don't want that to happen.
And it'll make you better, and in the long run it'll be a good thing.
So
But
that last one at Nutshell wasn't bombing?
no.
No.
Yeah, maybe you're already experiencing bombing because you have a disorder that causes you to not hear laughter and applause that are there.
And what is the name of this medical condition?
Well, I'm not sure that it's politically correct or a very sensitive name, but among a group of comedians I hang out with, we call it laughorexia.
Oh.
Because they talk about people not seeing themselves accurately in the mirror. And I had a friend named Nick, brilliant, and he would go up and just kill and then come off stage and go, God damn it. Parker Newman, another guy in Sacramento who's phenomenal, so good. And so many nights I've talked him through, no, you actually killed Parker. And he's like, no. It's a weird thing, and it makes me sad because I'm very lucky that when I do well, I'm able to enjoy it. As much as bombing hurts, the salve on that is when you kill. Yeah. And if you couldn't feel it when you kill, if you would kill and it still felt like you bombed, man, that would suck.
Well, I don't think I'm doing that. I mean, because I did a story in Placerville. I could tell that just a little bit. Do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah. So I want to go back to the performing in the show because I think of all the shows we've done and all the performers we've had, you doing this story, you were the least experienced person, but you're not the person that did the worst.
Oh.
Like you did great.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to know like how nervous you were.
I was extremely nervous. I was terrified. I am every time. I'm just like, I'm having to go to the bathroom multiple times. I'm having to take all kinds of anxiety naps. I'm taking beta blockers now when I go on stage, and I had to make mixtapes for myself. I had to bring everything out of the toolbox to get myself there. And then when I was there, I just wanted to leave.
Did any part of you think that you weren't going to do it?
The comedy show was the worst. That was the one. I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I was pretty convinced I wasn't going to make it, even though I had the whole time had just self-talked myself into doing it and into going, but it was still there at the last moment in the 24th hour. It was like I wasn't going to go. I just knew I wasn't going to go. And but I did go, and so it's been like kind of a little less each time, but it's still pretty strong.
Let's talk about stage fright.
Yeah.
It is.
It's intense.
My God, my wrists hurt. I get tired. I get crazy, like I'm going to pass out tired, or I feel drugged.
Super tired, drugged. I start fights. I'm starting fights with Aaron. Yeah. I think I'm trying to cause a fight so bad that we can't go. Isn't that horrible? I'm just now starting to be aware of this. I didn't realize that I was doing it. I thought I was actually mad, but I started going, why is this happening every single time?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. What else happens to you?
No, I'm trying to. I used to. You mentioned the going to the bathroom a lot.
Yeah.
I once said to someone, or I recently said to someone that I don't think I have ever gone on stage not having to go to the bathroom, feeling like I'm holding it. Once I get up there and start, it goes away. But no matter how many times I go to the bathroom before. And when I was in a band, I actually one time took the microphone in with me. I was like, just start. I'll sing from in there.
But you mean number 2, right?
Yeah, I was sitting down. Yeah. No, both. Both, yeah.
And is it painful? I have painful stomach ache.
Yeah. And I've gotten, they're not butterflies. They're gorillas wearing tutus dancing around in my stomach.
And so did your voice shake like mine did? Like when I was on stage in the comedy?
I don't remember your voice shaking that we could hear.
The very first time.
Yeah.
A little bit at first, but then you kind of got over it.
Okay.
Oh, no, at the comedy show when I was still in class. You weren't there for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, hello, my name's Amy.
I don't think I got shaky voice. What I got is that I rushed.
Oh, yeah.
I would go real fast. And so, also I would black out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't remember what happened on stage. And yet, I could tell you if it went well or not.
Well, because it feels like you're coming back out of something.
It is. It's really intense.
And did you feel, because I tried to say this to you before, especially after I did the comedy, I kind of felt like Amy kind of went inward somewhere and almost like something else performed. I don't mean it so
There is definitely a voice in my head that's processing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like watching me do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that voice can be distracting, and I want it to shut up.
Yeah.
And sometimes that voice gets surprised by what comes out of our mouths. I'm like, who's driving right now? You just said something we hadn't written or rehearsed. And I'm over here thinking about how I hope I remember to zip my fly up. So I didn't come. Who came up with that?
But you like that voice a little bit.
Yeah.
That answers to the panic voice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun little high to chase.
Well, that was because I had a heckler the first time on stage. That woman, she's talking about my skirt, and I said, "Are you the fourth dude?" And it just came out of nowhere. I had the perfect thing to say to
Nice.
her, and like everybody laughed, and like it just felt so good.
Oh, that's great. Oh.
Can we talk a little bit about your mother and kind of what your relationship is like with your mother now?
What it's like now? Well, I don't have a relationship with her.
Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
What do you want to know?
How did you end up not having a relationship with your
That's
mother?
such a long story.
Well, okay, let's see if I can.
Well, I mean,
Can I try ask something more specific?
sure.
I think about who is hearing my story, and especially if there are real people in my story. Do you think about, not that your mom would hear the story or if she would hear the story, but just how she'd respond if she did? Like, is there some part of you that can hear your mom's voice going, "Oh, Amy, that's not what happened," or
Yeah.
whatever it is?
Well, yeah, I think that's part of what I've just recently gotten over, is because I think that I was always my whole life catering to my mom's voice, actually even putting her version of events before my version of events.
Yeah.
But also simultaneously just feeling like, how come there's no room in the world for my version of events? Like, but when I started working on cookie season, that was like when I really started to see that I was doing it in my own writing. I was giving my mom the same presence that would give myself, maybe even more, because I was always like so trying to make sure that I was fair. I need to be
Right.
fair. I need to make sure that I'm presenting my mom correctly, and that, to the point where I was always like kind of downgrading myself. And so when I did cookie season on stage, that was the first time where it was like, this is my story coming from me, my point of view. And that's why there's a lot of good things about my mom. She's really super, super cool, super smart. Like, I took all of that out of the story, and also she was much worse in the story than I shared. I took both of those
Right.
out in order to really focus on me, which I know that sounds bad,
No,
but that's what I needed, the perspective to come from me.
Right.
And I've always, like, in my life had my mom right here next to me. Like, I have to share her perspective too at all times, no matter what, So that's what I've been like letting go of, I guess, over the last year.
So you don't have a relationship with your mom,
No.
but you also do.
I don't think so. Not
or
anymore.
you did.
I did.
Yeah, you're
That was-
working on not.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
basically it was like we weren't talking, but she was still my like jailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my head, living in my head, I was very loyal to her, even though I had thought that I'd left her.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, before you and your mom stopped talking, you felt like all the catering you did to her, it still felt like she took everything the worst possible way.
She did.
And I recall too that she had read some of your writing
Yeah.
online with stuff about her, maybe even the story.
Yep.
And she viewed it through the worst possible lens.
Yeah, which is weird because I got a lot of, not pressure, but disappointment. This kind of like, oh, you should be a writer. Like, she would tell me a lot that I'm supposed to be a writer. And then when I was making money writing, she was disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, she had something bad to say about it. And that's because she felt defensive and threatened by it. But
Right.
so it's like I couldn't do anything right, really, for her. I was just a disappointment. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I have to kind of be neutral. Like, if she hears the stories, I do kind of wonder, like, I mean, for all I know, she could be on Substack. She could be one of getting our newsletters. I don't
Right.
really know. And I also, I don't even know if she's alive, honestly. I don't know anything that's happening. And I just, I feel okay with that.
Wow.
Is that the end?
Well, I do want to, before we end, you asked Keith about Nutshell, so I think we should get your perspective on Nutshell.
Why did you do this?
I don't fucking know. Someone should have stopped me, Aaron. Instead, I roped Aaron into it too.
Now, Keith, last episode, he talked about his experience, and he comes from comedy, but he was doing some storytelling shows. He had done Don Reed's thing twice, and it was that second one that we were with him, and we were talking about doing this. So, but from his point of view, it makes sense. Like, he's a little bit in this world. But what about for you? Like, is it just because you loved the idea? Like, you just, like, I feel like you really willed it into existence out of like nothing.
I was determined.
Why?
Well, for one, I had kind of thought for a while that back to my stories seemed kind of anecdotal to me. I kind of thought they might be good said aloud. Like, and maybe,
Right.
I wasn't getting a lot of attention for my writing, and I kind of felt like maybe if people just heard me say it, they would get it better or something. Like, maybe that's the element that was missing was my voice. I don't know, my actual voice. And so I knew that I wanted to tell stories. And then when Keith started talking about it, I was very much in the middle of trying to make sure that Keith and I became best friends.
Wow, okay.
And that I was determined to do whatever it would take to make that happen. I felt
Project BFKLJ, we've numbered that.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know this, but Keith and I used to be best friends.
Oh, until
Now
I
I'm
came along.
yeah. Now I'm second tier,
Yeah.
Maybe third
maybe third. Yeah.
after Max the dog. Yeah.
No, I just Keith is really creative. He's hella creative and smart. He has a very healthy ego. No, different
Handsome.
story.
Don't forget
Yeah.
handsome.
Oh, so handsome.
Grows a good
it's hard to work
mustache.
with him. And I just also it's really we're different. Keith and I are very different, but our brains are similar. There's a similarity, and I don't feel like I meet many people that has a brain similar to mine. And I felt like I just I wanted to keep that in my life.
Let's get real personal, shall we?
Oh, I thought we already
Let's
had.
get real personal.
Okay.
You do a lot of work for Nutshell,
Okay.
a ton of work, and you also like struggle with the stress of it as well.
I do.
So, what is this experience like for you to like be putting on this storytelling show and to like bear the stress and the weight of like all these tasks that is needed for putting on a storytelling show?
I mean, it's all really new for me. I'm not an organized person. I'm surprised I'm keeping up at all, but it definitely feels like I'm barely keeping up. And, but somehow I'm doing it. And, I really there's something really awesome about getting to show night. And then I kind of hand it over to Keith. You and I, we go sit in the back. I know Keith has it handled. He's like the best host ever. And I get to just watch the show. And it's like, it's super, super satisfying. And then the next day we don't do anything. We try to turn off our phones. We try to just don't do anything. And then it's like reset, and then it just starts all over again. I lose interest in things really fast. And so it is hard to maintain. It's hard to keep myself going with these repetitive tasks,
Because you did learn a lesson when you were 10. That
Right.
You should quit things
I know.
earlier.
And so every month it's like, I know, I want to quit every month.
The fact that you guys are able to do that at our show, to go sit in the audience and be like, oh, we like this show that we're putting on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get to be fans and
It's
enjoy it.
awesome.
I love that.
And
That's-
I've definitely personally experienced all of our shows as an audience member.
Yeah.
One time I had to be the camera guy at one show.
Right.
And it really bummed me out because I really took away
Yeah.
from my reward.
I know.
But okay, that one aside, I really enjoyed just sitting down and watching the show every month.
And it does feel like a reward.
Yeah, and I feel like I am able to have perspective. I do a lot of work for Nutshell too, but I don't really feel like I'm not telling stories. I'm not really doing creative work. So I feel like I have perspective and being like, this is a good show. I feel like I enjoy this show. I feel entertained.
Because, I mean, everybody could bomb, but we still have Keith.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep.
And then as soon as the first person does good, then I'm like, oh, now I can bomb if I want.
Thank goodness.
How you feel about Girl Scout cookies now?
I still don't like the selling of Girl Scout cookies, but I like eating them.
What's your favorite?
I think they're called Caramel Delights now.
Okay.
They were called Samoa when we were kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are the best. They're so
Yeah.
good. They've got coconut on them and
Yeah.
caramel and chocolate. Delicious.
Oh, can I just say back to what you just said?
What about you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I enjoy the Thin Mints. There's a peanut butter one with like a peanut butter cream in it.
Yeah.
That's like a sandwich cookie. That's
Yeah.
really good. But my choices are more limited because I'm vegan.
Yeah.
But they do have several flavors that are vegan every year, so that's
And
cool.
what about the lemon one? Are you able
Oh,
to eat
those
that
are
one?
so good.
I love
Lemonades.
lemon.
Yeah.
Okay. I do appreciate in your story that you did slide in there, that you didn't like selling, that you thought it was slave labor, and that you called them little
Child
capitalists.
labor.
Yeah. It's child labor.
I know they're creating good little capitalists.
And there was some other social critique in there.
There
They're
was.
teaching
I
them
just
about
felt-
babies, and they're teaching them.
Thank you for catching all that.
As somebody who knows you well,
Yes.
those are the moments where I say to myself, she's being Amy right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Be Amy, Amy B.
Oh,
Hey.
that's where that comes from.
It's one of those things.
That's what it means, actually.